college alum with a degree in psychology and has proven expertise in guest services and oversight management within the theme parks and international tourism industry. Thank you so much, Mac, for presenting for us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. In an effort to deal with my unstable internet, I apologize. I may come in and out of video, but for the moment, I'm just going to speak and see how things go. All right. So today's presentation is Rooted in Resilience, the vital role of native plants in Florida ecosystems, how Florida's native plants support ecosystems and thrive through natural adaptations. It's really about physics, and we're connecting ecological benefits of native flora with underlying physics principles that fuel their resilience. I'm not able to. Oh, here we go. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So what are native plants? By definition, native plants are plants that are indigenous to Florida, occurring naturally before European contact, pre-16th century. That's according to a most latest definition provided by Florida Native Plant Society.org. They evolved locally without human introduction. So adapted to Florida, native species are genetically tuned to Florida's climate, soils, and seasons. They require less water and care, having thrived in these conditions for millennia. The ecological fit is that they form the foundation of local food webs, co-evolving with native wildlife. Unlike many exotics or non-natives, natives support pollinators and herbivores that recognize them as food or habitat. They have tremendous resilience. Native plants have natural defenses against Florida's stresses, such as hurricanes, wildfires, droughts. These time-tested adaptations are key to their survival benefits. So let's understand some plant terminology. Non-native, exotic, introduce are species introduced to Florida intentionally or accidentally from a natural range outside of the state. Now, these have introduced species are not inherently harmful. Many are cultivated in gardens or agriculture. They are, synonymous with non-natives are exotic, introduced species. A naturalized plant is a non-native species that sustains itself outside of cultivation, reproducing and persisting in the wild. Now, while established in the environment, it remains non-native and has not become native. An example would be an Easter lily, a Lilium longiflorum, not native, but has been naturalized in parts of Florida without becoming an invasive species. Another example, tropical almond trees growing in wild coastal areas. It's important to note that being naturalized does not mean that the plant is native. It is still considered non-native, but accepted as naturalized. A weed, for instance, is a subjective term for any plant growing where it's not wanted. So can refer to a native or non-native species. It's not a scientific classification, but commonly used in horticulture and agriculture. Some native plants are considered weeds in gardens or farms. For example, dog fennel. I'm also showing and pointing to Caesar weed, coral ardisia. This is Brazilian pepper, Mexican petunia, and potato vine. So an invasive plant, a non-native species that only sustains itself outside cultivation, but also expands into natural areas, disrupting native plant communities. These are examples of those that are very invasive here in the state. invasive plants can outcompete native species. They do alter habitats, fire patterns, restrict water flow, and affect ecosystem functions. Uh, Again, examples such as the Brazilian pepper, which aggressively invades Florida's natural areas, and you can quite literally traverse the state and see it along the roadways throughout. Florida's plant diversity. Florida, for biodiversity hotspots, Florida harbors over 3,000 native species, one of the highest totals of any U.S. state. This richness spans wildflowers, grasses, ferns, shrubs, and towering trees. We have varied ecosystems, from coastal mangrove forests and sandy dunes to wetlands, pine flatwoods, and hardwood hammocks. Florida's range of habitats supports a huge variety of plant life. Tropical and temperate zones meet here, fostering unique assemblages. Endemics. We have well over 230 plant species that grow only in Florida, such as the Florida torchwood indicated here, and the Miccosukee gooseberry. These endemics are very, very rare. The torchwood is found further down south and along the coast, the eastern coast, coming up from South Florida up and up. And the Miccosukee gooseberry is only found in one area of Florida, Hudson, Florida, which is on the west central coast. These endemics highlight the state's unique evolutionary history. They have conservation value because these diverse flora underpin Florida ecosystems. Preserving native plants helps protect the entire web of life that depends on them. Photosynthesis and light, the physics of plant energy. Sunlight to sugar. Through photosynthesis, plants convert sunlight into chemical energy. Native plants optimize light capture with adaptive leaves. For example, shade-tolerant understory plants have broad, thin leaves to absorb diffuse light, whereas sun-loving scrub plants have smaller, thicker leaves to avoid excess heat and overheating. Canopy dynamics. In dense Florida hammocks, tall trees absorb most sunlight, so lower story natives such as the wild coffee or a dwarf palmetto thrive on filtered diffuse light. Their large leaf surface areas and high chlorophyll content maximize the use of limited light. Sun protectors. Many full sun natives, for example, the sea grape or the Yucca filamentosa, have waxy or reflective leaf coatings and vertical leaf angles. These physical traits prevent overheating and water loss while still harnessing ample sunshine for growth. Use of resources. The efficiency. Native plants often have higher photosynthetic efficiency in local conditions. They're tuned into Florida's day length, sun angle, and seasons. This efficiency supports faster recovery and growth, contributing to the resilience in the wild. Habitat and biodiversity benefits. Wildlife habitat. Native plants provide the food and shelter native animals need. Flowers of wild sage and firebush feed butterflies and hummingbirds. Acorns of live oak sustain squirrels and deer. Entire life cycles of many insects and birds depend on specific native plants. For example, monarch butterflies on milkweed. Passifloras support Gulf fritillary, zebra longwing heliconias. just to name a few. We know this is important because if you love birds, you need insects. So that's highly important. Biodiversity support. By planting or preserving natives, we preserve Florida's rich biodiversity. These plants host diverse birds, bees, butterflies, and beneficial insects, keeping ecosystems in balance. A single oak tree, for example, can support hundreds of insect species, which in turn feed frogs, lizards, songbirds, and other creatures. Pollinator partnerships. Native flowers like coreopsis and gallberry evolve with local pollinators. They offer the right nectar at the right time, and in turn, bees and other pollinators ensure plant reproduction, a finely tuned physical and biological synchronization. The Food Web Foundation. In Florida's ecosystems, native Florida are the base of the food web. Removing them can collapse local food chains. By contrast, invasive often fail to support native wildlife diets, underscoring the irreplaceable role of indigenous plants. Water and hydrology benefits. Water conservation. Natives are adapted to Florida's rainfall patterns and often need minimal irrigation. Their deep roots tap into natural groundwater, and many survive seasonal droughts with ease. For example, the saw palmetto or the scrub oak. Using natives in landscapes can reduce water usage significantly, helping conserve our aquifer. Runoff reduction. Native plants help absorb stormwater. In gardens or wetlands, their roots and soil interplay, act like a sponge, soaking up rain and slowing runoff. This prevents flooding and allows water to percolate into the ground rather than racing to drains. Water quality. By holding water and soil, natives filter out pollutants. Wetland natives like pickerelweed or cattails trap excess nutrients and sediments, improving water quality downstream. Clean rivers and springs often begin with native vegetation buffering their banks. Wetland specialists. Florida's famed wetlands, the Everglades and marshes, depend on native hydrophytes, water-loving plants. Species like cypress trees can withstand months of inundation, regulating water flow and releasing it slowly in dry periods. A natural physics-based water management system. Water movement and capillary, the physics of hydration. Defying gravity. How do Florida's tall trees pull water from roots to canopy? Capillary action and xylem tissue. Water molecules cling to each other by cohesion and to the narrow xylem walls, adhesion, forming a continuous column of water. This capillarity, aided by the pool of transpiration, lifts water dozens of feet, nourishing even the top leaves of a live oak or a cypress tree. An Everglades example. In sawgrass marshes, peripython algae mats create thin capillary films that lift water above the surface, keeping soils moist. And this is what they look like as an example. Looks unappealing, but it's a part of an environmental boon. So by lifting water above the surface and keeping soils moist, aquatic natives exploit capillarity to stay hydrated during brief dry spells, a physics trick vital for wetland resilience. Drought resistance. Many scrub and sandhill plants, like longleaf pine, have deep taproots, accessing underground moisture. Capillary rise in soil pores also bring some moisture towards the surface, which fibrous-rooted natives can absorb. This upward movement through tiny soil spaces, another capillary effect, helps natives survive Florida droughts. There is something called the hydraulic limit, which sets an upper limit to tree heights greater than 130 feet because the cohesion tension of water can only pull so far. Florida native trees, such as the loblolly pine or southern magnolia, stay well below this limit, ensuring their vascular system can reliably lift water to every leaf. It's a beautiful example of evolution working with physical laws for optimal design. Soil stability and erosion control. Root webs, native plants are nature's engineers for soil stabilization. Their roots form extensive networks that grip and bind soil particles. In the panhandle, for example, wiregrasses and longleaf pine roots hold sandy soils in place. On coastlines, sea oats and beech morning glory anchor shifting dunes, preventing sand erosion even under pounding storms. Nutrient recycling. As natives grow and shed their leaves, they enrich the soil. Leaf litter from slash pines or cabbage palm add organic matter, improving soil structure and water retention. Fungi and microbes associated with native plant roots further enhance soil fertility by decomposing this litter and recycling and cycling nutrients. Preventing erosion. During heavy rains, areas planted with natives experience far less runoff and soil loss than bare ground, sod-covered lawns. Deep-rooted natives like beautyberry shrubs or live oaks act like rebar, like living rebar, holding riverbanks and slopes intact. This reduces sediment washing into waterways and preserves land contours. Underground allies. Florida's native plants often form symbiotic relationships like mycorrhizal fungi on oak roots that extend their reach. These microscopic partnerships effectively increase the root surface area, enhancing soil cohesion and nutrient uptake. It's an underground support network, keeping soils resilient. Root mechanics and soil stabilization, the physics of support. Anchoring forces. Roots exert mechanical friction and tensile forces in soil. Think of a native tree root system as a network of ropes tying the plant down. And test the root mats of grasses and saw palm meadows significantly increase the shear strength of sandy soil, meaning it takes a stronger force, example, wind or water flow, to dislodge rooted soil compared to bare sand. Deep diggers. Some dune plants send roots extraordinarily deep, up to 12 meters or 40 feet for sea oats. These deep roots reach stable moisture and also act as buried anchors. During hurricanes, dunes with intact sea oat root systems resist erosion far better as the roots litter hold the dune together. So the importance of not walking on those sand dunes or disturbing the sea oats. Mangrove mechanics. Coastal mangroves showcase root physics. Their stilt roots broaden the tree's base and distribute its weight, much like a buttressing system. By extending laterally and downward, they lower the center of gravity and prevent toppling. Additionally, mangrove roots networks dampen wave energy and trap sediment, physically building new land over years. Soil binding strength. The collective grip of roots is such a powerful stabilizer that restoration projects use native plants to combat erosion. Each tiny root hair applies adhesive force to soil particles. Multiplied by millions of roots in a marsh or a forest, the soil becomes interwoven and resistant to being washed away or blown away. Some examples of native plant roots as anchors. This little coastal protection and storm resilience. Hurricane buffers. Native coastal plants are Florida's frontline defense against storms. In a mangrove forests form dense berries along shores. Their flexible trunks and tangle of roots dissipate wave energy and storm surge. Studies show mangroves can reduce wave height by up to 66% over short distances, protecting inland areas from erosion and flooding. Dune defenders on sandy beaches. Sea oats and other dune natives trap wind-blown sand, steadily building up dune elevation. These dunes act as a natural speed bump for storm surge. In hurricanes, dunes with healthy vegetation suffer less breach. Sea oats' deep roots help dunes bounce back by catching sand as winds redeposit it, literally self-healing the landscape. Windbreaks, stands of native trees like live oak, hammocks, or pine forests serve as windbreaks during storms. They reduce wind speed leeward of the stand, shielding structures and other vegetation. Even if some limbs fall, a healthy native tree community greatly diminishes overall wind damage in its vicinity. I've experienced that because I have a nice wall of trees behind my condominium that have sheltered me from many a storm. Flood mitigation. Wetland natives such as sawgrass, swamp lilies, and cypress trees slow down floodwaters. Their stems and roots create friction that spreads out and delays flood peaks. This physics of drag as vegetated floodplains protects downstream areas by giving water more time to soak in rather than just rush through. Structural efficiency and wind resistance, the physics of storm survival. Flexible design. Many Florida native trees exhibit dynamic flexibility. And palms are a prime example. Unlike hardwood trees, a palm's trunk contains interwoven vascular bundles, not concentric rings, making it more like a bundle of cables than a rigid pole. This gives palms a built-in shock absorber, letting them bend without snapping in hurricane gusts. Excuse me. Streamlined canopies. Native pines and palms often have sparse canopies or fronds that reduce wind resistance. Sable palms shed older fronds easily in storms, effectively streamlining themselves. Less frontal area against the wind means lower force impact, per the drag equation in physics, so the tree is less likely to be uprooted. Root support. The physics of torque comes into play in wind throw. Deep and widespread roots counter the leverage of strong winds. For instance, a mature live oak's lateral roots spread far beyond its canopy. This wide anchor base increases the movement arm, resisting overturning. As a result, live oaks famously withstand historic hurricanes better than shallow-rooted exotics. They will sacrifice limbs, but stay rooted. Built to sway. Ever notice how seagrass blades or salt marsh cordgrass bend gracefully with waves? Terrestrial natives have analogous traits. Longleaf pine trunks are relatively narrow and can sway significantly, dissipating wind energy. By swaying, the tree avoids absorbing the full force at once, a natural frequency and dampening system that prevents structural failure. Excuse me. A survival strategy. After storms, many native trees refoliate quickly, even if defoliated. They often keep reserve buds or energy stored. This rapid recovery is another resilience trait, more biological than physical, ensuring natives remain on the landscape to continue protecting and serving the ecosystem post-storms. Fire-adapted ecosystems and the physics of survival. Natural fire cycles. Florida's uplands evolved with fire. Historically, lightning ignited wildfires about every 3 to 7 years. Native plants depend on periodic burns for regeneration and ecosystem balance. These areas are built for fire. Species like longleaf pine and wiregrass are fire adapted. Longleaf pine's thick bark insulates its core. Its grass stage protects the bud near the ground, and many shrubs, for example, saw palmettos, vigorously resprout from underground energy reserves. Thermal physics, thick barks act as an insulator, slowing heat transfer. A 1-inch layer can protect internal tissues even during fires exceeding 900 degrees Fahrenheit. Nature's fire shield in action. Energy transfer and renewal. Fire releases stored solar energy in litter as heat, returning nutrients to the soil. Controlled low-intensity burns favor native plants by clearing space and fueling rapid post-fire regrowth. Reproduction by fire. Some seeds need heat or smoke. As I mentioned, the sand pines, wildflowers, longleaf pine to germinate. Chemical signals like characins and smoke trigger this, using physics and chemistry to synchronize with post-burn conditions. And ecosystem health. Without fire, native habitats become overgrown, invasive prone, and lose biodiversity. Prescribed burns restore balance, supporting species like gopher tortoises and red cockeyed woodpeckers. Here is a sample of a prescribed burn that took place just recently at Mead Botanical Gardens and their upland habitat restoration area. This area was 0.3 acres, and it took about 45 minutes to burn, but it is an area that was in need of this management as part of the land management for that little area. If you have a chance, stop by and see how much change has already occurred. It's been about a week. So protecting native plants and communities. Threats to natives. There's a development and invasive species are the biggest challenges. Habitat loss through urbanization means fewer native plants and fragmented ecosystems. Meanwhile, invasive plants like Brazilian pepper, melaleuca, and air potato vine outcompete natives, overtaking habitats and providing little value to wildlife. Conservation status. Hundreds of Florida native plants are now rare or endangered. Approximately over 440 species are listed as endangered, 118 as threatened. This includes beautiful endemics like the Okeechobee gourd and Keys cactus. Protecting these plants means preserving unique genetic and ecological heritage. restoration efforts. Agencies and nonprofits engage in native plant restoration. From replanting seagrass beds in Tampa Bay to pine rockland restorations in Miami, by reintroducing native plants and reestablishing natural fire or hydrology regimes, these projects rebuild resilience into Florida's landscapes. Gardening for wildlife, everyone can help by using native plants in home landscapes. Florida-friendly gardening. Native yards require less water and chemicals, and they create many refuges for birds, butterflies, and pollinators, as well as other creatures that will make your yard their home. Programs like Plant Real Florida and county extension offices provide guidance on selecting natives for your region. Community action, join local initiatives. The Florida Native Plant Society chapters, state park volunteer programs, and backyard habitat certifications all contribute to a statewide network of native plant advocacy. Through education and community planting projects, we are coming together to ensure our native flora thrives for generations to come. I wanted to mention this documentary, Dear Tampa Bay. As I've been speaking about the physics of native plants, I wanted to also draw your attention to this particular documentary put together by the National Wildlife Federation. If I may, it's just a 2-minute overview with this trailer. It depicts the Gulf Coast from sea level rise, storm surge, extreme rainfall, and water quality and quantity. Communities in coastal Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, and Florida share their lessons learned and solutions employed. So without further ado, hopefully this will load. I apologize. Sorry about that. Bear with me. And without further ado, Dear Tampa Bay. It's in total, it's 20 minutes. I just wanted to show you the trailer. Can everyone see it?
Not yet.
Is it on?
Oh, yes. We see the screen, but we're not seeing it moving. Mm. I don't see it going, Mac.
It's not going?
No.
I apologize. Let me not. Well, in any event.
Can you click on the link again? We just see the link. Yeah.
How about now?
No, it did not open.
Hmm.
Am I correct, Susan? We can't see it?
We can't see it, but if you want, you could just put the link in the chat and people could watch it on their own.
Yeah. Okay. Or it's here. It's the Dear Tampa Bay documentary. As I mentioned, it is 20 minutes long, put together by the National Wildlife Federation. Very worthwhile mini documentary. So I'll leave you with that. So some of our own success stories. Tampa Bay's living shorelines use native marsh plants to restore coastlines. The Lake Apopka restoration improved water quality and resilience through native plant restoration, providing thriving habitats for abundant wildlife. The Kissimmee Prairie Preserve protects rare grasslands and wildflowers. And local FNPS chapters lead restoration events and public plantings. So every small project adds up to statewide impact. Some resources, Florida Native Plant Society, University of Florida Extension offices, invasive plants, the Florida Wildflower Foundation, the Florida Native Natural Areas Inventory, Sustainable Florida, UFIFA's blogs, the Dear Tampa Bay documentary, which I hope you will see. Let me see if I can copy it. I can't copy it. Sorry. Bringing Nature Home, of course, by Dr. Talamy. Florida's Best Native Landscape Plants by Gil Nelson. Greener Choices, Alternatives to Invasive Non-Native Plants by the Lake County Water Authority, and also the Big Scrub Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area, SISMA of Lake and Marion County are some of our resources. My name is Mac Camacho-Viera, and I invite you to the Tarflower Chapter of Orange County. Join us the first Tuesday of every month at Mead Botanical Gardens in Winter Park. 6:45, meetings start at 7. Everyone is welcome, whether you're a member or not. And this coming Tuesday, the 3rd of June, we have a very special presentation, Rising Tides, Fading Flora, Sea Level Rise, and the First U.S. Plant Loss in the Keys with Jimmy Lang, research botanist at Fairchild Tropical Botanical Garden.
Wow.
And it is a very interesting one. In fact, I mentioned one of the opuntia, or the prickly pears, that are going extinct because of salt intrusion in the Keys. So loss of habitat due to salt intrusion. And that is my presentation.
All right, thank you.
Yes, great.
Excellent.
I am very impressed with the mead restoration that Tarflower has done. It's amazing.
It is a long,
it seems like,
Catherine Bowman and Hal have spearheaded that from the get-go. We do have meetings, work meetings, work days, once a month, and everyone is welcome to come and join us. We pull weeds and do whatever we need to do, sometimes plant plants, but it's a great educational piece for the community. And we did record the process of the prescribed burn for educational purposes and hope to be able to share that very shortly.
yes, I was very fascinated by that. Who did you get to do it?
It was Mike Green. His name is Mike Green.
He's a private?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. Well, kudos to Tarflower. And I understand you also have a restoration project in Little Italy and the Lake Apopka North Shore.
Yes. Yes. Those are ongoing. And occasionally we do have opportunities to go out there and do some plantings. The area is managed by the St. John's Water Management District, but we do go and assist in doing some plantings with them and doing surveys of the plants to see how they're thriving and how they're doing.
And a lot of those plants were done through rescues of areas that were going to be developed.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, so we are running out of spaces to do that, but if you hear of any location, we do receive permission from the landowner to go in and remove imperiled plants that are going to be bulldozed or gotten rid of. And it's always rewarding and a little bit bittersweet to go back to a location where we've rescued plants after the fact to see what has become of a place afterwards, the growth, the density that comes in. So, but it's nice to know that any plant that we do rescues do go to places like Lake Louisa State Park or the Oakland Nature Preserve, various different areas. Little Italy has received thousands of plants from us. So, and it all ties in. Why? Because we love birds, we love the environment, and it all is one big, huge connection.
So we love Backyard Biodiversity Day. We've been there since the beginning. It's another thing to give kudos to Tarflower about. October 18th, is it?
Yeah. Yes.
That's for everybody on the bird chat. That's a great place to buy your plants with expertise of the Tarflower members selling them.
And without having to drive really far. If I can put that in there.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
Nice to have something local. And
I consider
a good organization.
yes. And it does support the organization. That's right.
It's a win-win.
Absolutely.
And you have the big sale at Lou Gardens in the spring. And do you have any other big sales?
We have the Lou Gardens plant sale in March. And then we have Backyard Biodiversity, which is the big one, really big one. And we also have Grovember. Grovember is also at Mead Gardens.
Okay.
And that's also a plant sale that we do.
In November.
Yes.
Good.
Great opportunities.
I also source plants as a native plant concierge. So if you are looking for a particular plant and are having a hard time finding it, give me a call. I'm happy to source those for you.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, does anyone have any questions? I can let you guys unmute yourself now. And you can,
I'll stop sharing.
let me let people. So now everyone, if you just want to say your question, you're more than welcome to, or you can type it in the chat. This is your chance.
And I do want to point out, we did have a couple of comments. Bobby said it was very informative. She doesn't live in Florida, but a lot of the information can be applied to other areas. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Marty was saying, great, love the application of physics, being a retired high school science teacher.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, Antonia said, amazing talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I try and tie in. So I work with the Lake County Water Authority as a water resource educator. So I'm an environmental educator for them as a contracted water resource agent. And, to be able to talk about water quality, native plants, and why they're important, why are wetlands important, watersheds, hydrology. So it's important for me to tie it into a bigger picture as to why these things are important. When you're taking a walk on a boardwalk, or if you're taking a hike somewhere while you're bird watching, there are a number of things that are going on that we oftentimes don't pay attention to, but are crucial because these things are going off without us, whether we approve of them or not. I mean, water quality, the hydrology, the way that plants filter pollutants from areas. These are all part and parcel for everything. So, any questions?
So we're talking about having a yard tour again, Mac.
A yard tour?
Did our Tarflower just do something like a yard tour?
Yeah.
So one of our members, Kyle Shepherd, opened his yard to the anyone who is interested in attending. So we plan on doing more of those in the future. I will keep you posted for that. If anyone is interested, and I'll mention this as well, Craig Hugel has invited us to attend the USF Botanical Gardens. And I'll send you the link, or I'll send you the invite so that anyone who's interested is welcome to, maybe Audubon can do a trip up there as well, if you're interested in going to the botanical garden up there.
The benefit of a yard tour is that you see how people did it in their own yard,
Right.
Yes.
Right. So I will let you know when we're going to be doing our next yard tour.
Very good. Oh, we did have a comment that Pelican Island, Audubon and Vero Beach has a native plant nursery where you can see and buy natives. It is open Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday mornings. Just FYI if you are in that area.
That's great.
Excuse me.
Maybe someday we could do that as well at our Apopka Birding Park.
Oh, there you go.
Right. Come along.
Or maybe we can take some of the rescues.
Yeah.
I will mention there is a new nursery in Christmas. It's called 4 Acre Farms. 4 Acre Farms. It's owned by Mike Langford, I think is his name, but 4 Acre Farms. It is literally 4 acres. And their plants are quite good. The other local location is Orlando Native Plants and Urban Nursery. That's in.
Oh, that's still going?
So it has been going, and yes, I hesitate to mention it because I've actually been involved with it. So I didn't want to kind of muddy the waters by making mention of it. But I do, that is one way that I can assist in procuring plants for people if you're interested. And I do open the nursery on selected weekend dates.
Oh, okay. And that's what Ray Paris started that?
Yes, exactly.
Say the whole name again, Orlando.
Orlando Native Plants and Urban Nursery.
Okay.
And we advertise when we're open and the location because it's not open all the time. It is in a residential area. And I will give you the address. The address is and if you're interested, you can follow on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
The address is 1201 Portland Avenue here in Orlando. And it's literally a little side yard that is maybe 20 by 10. And so I have limited selections, and that's why I mentioned to people, if you're interested in any particular plants, to reach out through the website, the Orlando Native Plants Facebook or Instagram page, and I'll be happy to assist you in finding whatever plants you need.
Great. Hey, here's 2 plants that we're trying to promote for birds.
Okay.
The sugarberry
Okay.
and the wild black cherry, Prunus serratina. The nurseries do not carry them yet, but so we're just trying to get people to ask for them. They do get to be big trees, so you need the space, but they are excellent for warblers because they've got the little caterpillars and they've got the small fruits, sugarberry and wild black cherry.
Okay, got it.
I have a plant question. Speaking of sugarberry, if
Okay.
if my son thought a sugarberry tree was a bush and cut it in half, what will happen to it? It does seem to be living. Sorry. He thought it was something else and thought it was getting tall and stringy, so he cut it. How will that affect the tree?
As long as it's doing okay, you'll just probably lose the, the crown of it, but it'll still hopefully thrive. So it won't become a tree. It'll maybe become more of a bush until such a time as it gets to the point where it gets strong enough.
Okay, well, that's good. It does look like it's doing okay.
So he didn't kill it. He just kind of,
No, he just lopped the top off, and I'm like, oh. He's like, you know that bush? And I go, that's not a bush. That was a tree. So sometimes family isn't the best helpers in your plants.
so you might not get height, but you'll get width.
Width. Okay.
I see Brenda says Green Isle Gardens has the black cherry. Yes, I think they do. Sometimes, yeah.
And I think
Sugarberry people
spring,
just turn their noses up at, and yet it's a beautiful tree. Very beautiful.
All right. I will work on finding some of those. What do you think about fiddlewood?
Oh, I have fiddlewood. I was surprised it survived since it's out of range, right? In
Well, it's
Florida.
becoming more in range actually. I've seen quite a few at Cocoa Village, downtown here in Orlando at the Orange County Administration Building. There
Oh,
is there's a little garden that the master gardeners maintain, and there is a fantastic specimen there in the corner. You'll see a bench directly underneath it, and it does attract quite a bit of birds. So it's in bloom right now, and it smells absolutely gorgeous.
yeah.
If you have a chance, come check it out because it is beautiful, beautiful. We just trimmed it. It was so hardy. So
oh, Brenda said she lives in downtown Orlando and she has one and loves it. So,
yeah.
very good. I'm gonna have to look that up, although I don't think I have room for trees, any more trees. But
It's not a huge tree. The one that's at the garden, at the downtown garden, maybe 15 feet tall, with a canopy that's, well, we just trimmed it, so with an equal canopy right now, but it is beautiful. And underneath we have a variety of different wild coffees, the velvet leaf and the shiny leaf underneath it, and they love it. So
how tall does it get?
I want to say maybe, let me double check.
Oh, and Brenda does say that they are, I always mispronounce this, so I apologize, dioecious, and only the females have berries.
15 to 37 feet tall,
Oh, okay,
and they
that's
can
not
get
very tall.
8 to 25 feet wide.
Yeah, I like it.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful tree.
Hmm.
And very priced wood, hence the name fiddlewood, because it was
Oh,
used for musical instruments.
Oh.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I think that's it.
Thank
Very
you.
inspired.
Yes, thank you so much.
Kind of gardens. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'll see you out there. I need to get back to birding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might join you on Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. All
Okay.
Yes,
Come
yes,
on. Yeah.
yes.
right.
I love it. All right. Thank you once again. And if I can
Bye.
help you in any way, please let us know. And please come
Thank
visit
you.
us at Mead Gardens.
Yeah. Go see the burn. It's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
already
it's
greening
great
out.
right now. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Thank you again for having me. Everyone have a good night.
You
A
too.
pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Good
Tune in
night.
next week.
All right. Take